Natural light portraits are some of the easiest and most accessible ways to take photos anywhere in the world. However, they are extremely hard to master. So in today's video, I want to give you 10 tips for better natural light portraits, all in one take. But the first thing we got to do is find a model. So let's get into it, you know? We're in Fidei, New York, the financial district. This is where people make the big bucks, guys. So, oh my goodness. Is that Lotta from B&H? Hey, Lotta. This is actually perfect to talk about the first tip of the day, which is finding directional lighting and how to use it to your advantage. So whenever you're a new photographer, and what I struggle with was that we normally want to place our models somewhere where we get a lot of light in their face, right? So when you look at this, you're like, okay, the lighting is amazing, and to us, to the natural light, it looks great. However, there's two reasons why this is bad. For one, unflattering shadows on her face, as well as the model's not super comfortable, as we can tell. Her eyes kind of hurt. So what I like to do is something called backlighting. So let's move our subject to have the light behind them. And this is gonna give us a nice little rim light in the hair and just make the photo glow a little bit, you know? So let's take that photo right there. 3, 2, 1, perfect. 3, 2, 1, perfect. 3, 2, 1, beautiful. And now we got a little cinematic movie thing going on. But let's keep going. Now I wanna tell you about the second tip. So for me, whenever I started doing natural light portraits, one of the hardest things was figuring out how the light was falling on a model's face. And one of the best things to do is called the hand method. So you grab your hand and you almost make like a Lego shape, right? Like the Lego hand guys. And what you're gonna do is kind of move it around, and it kind of reflects the way a face looks. So the way that the highlights are hitting and the shadows are hitting are gonna be how your subject's face is going to be lit up. So it's important to use this whenever you're out and about and you're just trying to figure out where the best place to face your model really is. So just a quick little tip for you about lighting and how to tell where your lighting is coming from. Now, whenever you're in a studio, for tip number 3, we're gonna talk about building bounce. What does that mean? So when you're in a studio, you're taking photos, you usually have a big whiteboard that reflects light onto your model on the shadow side of her face. And that's just to bring up the darkness a little bit and make the image not seem so contrasting. So you can also do that in natural light portraits, specifically if you're in a city, but you can really do this anywhere where you have a building. What you wanna do is find somewhere that has a building that's maybe not directly black, but maybe something in between, like a nude color. And that's gonna basically make us bounce a little bit of light onto our subject, acting as a studio bounce. So that's gonna look a little bit like this. We're gonna place our model up here next to the brick wall once these people pass by. And we're just gonna show you exactly what that looks like. So let's get you a little bit closer here to the wall. And now, as you can see, we got a lot of light coming in here, bouncing from those buildings, and those are gonna be bouncing off this wall, basically filling out all of that shade on our model's face. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right, let's keep going. So tip number 4, it is hot, guys. It is hot, hot, hot. So people don't realize how much your background actually affects the way that your images look. So one way to show you that, pretty much literally, is by shooting our subject in front of a little bit more of a dark background, and then showing you how the photo looks with a light background. So let's start off here with this blue, which is a little bit darker, and that's gonna look a little bit like this. Let's get a portrait one just to be sure. 3, 2, 1. Nice. And just to test it out, we're also gonna move our subject over to the green wall, which is a little bit lighter, and it bounces a little bit more light onto your subject in different ways. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now, as you can see from the photos up on the screen right now, there's a big difference there. Whenever you're shooting with a darker background, the images automatically look a little bit moodier. When you're shooting with something a little lighter, they look a little bit lighter, a little more e-com, a little more, I don't know, commercial, if you know what I mean. But anyways, let's get into the next tip. Tip numero 5. That's 5 for you guys that don't speak Spanish. So as you guys can see here, we have this really harsh shadow coming in. And normally harsh shadows are a big no-no in portrait photography, but I like to think that they can add a little bit of drama to your images. So what we're gonna do here is place our subject kind of in the shade, but still along the line of that shade. And we're gonna take a portrait. So why don't you back up a little bit, Mr. Cameraman, so we can show them what that looks like. And what we're gonna do here is just take the photo. And obviously in editing, you can do a lot of magic. Take a little step back, Lotta. Right there. Perfect. It also works as a guiding light to make sure that you're getting a little bit of direction in your image that you would otherwise maybe not get. Beautiful. Now, Another tip for you, tip number 6, is something that people actually don't think a lot about whenever they're beginner photographers, and that is stop posing your models and start actually adding a little bit of movement into the photo so that it looks a little bit more natural. So what we're gonna have you do, Lara, is actually run that way and face me, okay? So let me get the lighting first. And basically by having a little bit of movement in your images, you just add a little bit of personality that sometimes is missing. So let's see how that looks. 3, 2, 1. And look back, and look back. Yes, beautiful. Oh my goodness, yes. Okay, nice. And so that obviously looks really fun, really authentic. But let's have her not get dizzy. Let's have her actually just stand there and pose. And we're gonna see what the difference is whenever there's actual movement and whenever it is posed. 3, 2, 1. That's pretty darn boring, isn't it? Okay, so another cool little tip is actually shooting in shadow. I know it's kind of counteracted because we are in a very lit up world and the sun is out and there's harsh shadows, but sometimes you just want even lighting all over your model's face. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have her maybe here in front of this little window still, and we're gonna take a photo with the shade all the way. Now this is great for just making your work a lot easier in editing and also when you're hanging out with the model because they don't get as hot. But you just get super nice even lighting all over the face, which makes for really even portraits and almost moody again. So moody is a big theme today. Perfect. 3, 2, 1, and beautiful. Okay, so as you guys can see, those photos look really nice, even lighting, not super harsh or any crazy backgrounds going on. Now let me give you another tip, which is the catch light. Now the catch light is one of those things that people don't really think about in portraits, but when you see it, you'll know what I mean. Catch light is basically having a little bit of light in your model's face and specifically talking about their eyeballs. So what I like to do to test out how this looks is to actually just have my model look around a bit and I'll tell her when to stop when I see that right there, stop. And I'll tell them when to stop whenever I see that little catch light. And I'll zoom in so you guys can get an idea of what I mean by catch light. And then you can back up and obviously do your full face portrait as long as she's facing the same way. And beautiful. So now the image just has a little bit more emotion and a little bit more intentionality. And now for the last tip is to shoot in RAW. I know that shooting RAW is sometimes a little harder on your edits. However, when you're shooting with harsh light, it is sometimes really hard to get all that detail from both the shadow and the highlights at the same time. So make sure to set your camera to RAW and get ready to rock. All right, guys, that was it for the video. We were very hot. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next week.